Today on the channel, I'm going to show you how to play every major and minor scale on the guitar in every position. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to show you every major and minor scale in every position on the guitar neck. We're going to talk about a little bit of theory. I'm going to show you some technique advice with alternate picking, that sort of thing. But this information I'm about to give you is this is information I've used since I was 15, 16 years old. I've used it my entire life. So that means I've been using it for about 80 years now. But all kidding aside, this is really good information. It's a lot to absorb, but I'm pretty positive you'll get a lot out of it. So let's talk about it. Technical stuff first. Let's get that out of the way. We're going to be in the key of G major. G major is the relative major to E minor. So E minor and G major are the same key. A lot of people wonder, how's that possible? Well, if you look at the sheet music, I'm going to do this in tablature for a reason, but I'm going to show you some sheet music on the screen right now, which is the G major scale. Now, if you look at the top of that staff, there's a sharp, and I've got an arrow pointed to it. It says F sharp. So in the key of G major and in the key of E minor, there's one sharp, and that is F sharp. So that register on the key, the register at the top of the staff there, the F sharp, lets the performer know what key that you're in. So the F sharp, if you go up if you go a half step up above that sharp, that's G. So we know we're in G. It's also E minor, all right? Now, that scale is a 3-octave scale, or a 2-octave scale, rather. It goes up 2 octaves. It starts on a G, up to a G up here on the high E string, okay? Now, guitar players use tablature for a lot of reasons. For one, you can play this scale throughout many different positions on the neck, and rather than, on sheet music, on regular staff music, it doesn't really show you where to play those notes. You can play a G in various positions on the neck. So guitar players like to play economically and efficiently, so sometimes a position may work better for you in certain areas than others. So it's easier to have tablature, and also guitar players a lot of times use chord charts and that sort of thing, and we improvise, which doesn't lend itself well to regular staff in sheet music. That's why many guitar players can't read music very well. There's a joke that says, how do you get a guitar player to shut up? And the pun or the punchline is, put some sheet music in front of them. Or how do you get a guitar player to stop playing? Put some sheet music in front of them. And there's a lot of truth to that. I can read sheet music. I'm not a great sight reader, even though I've got a degree in music. I can read it, I can write it. But I mostly read chord charts, improvise, and do tablature for simplicity reasons, okay, and economic reasons. So that is the main theory behind, G major has one F sharp, and so does E minor. To find the relative minor on your guitar scale, or on your fretboard, to find the relative minor, if you want to play the relative minor scale, if you take the note, for instance, G on your low E string, and you go down 3 frets, 1, 2, 3, would be an open E. If you go down 3 frets, there's your relative minor. So as an example, if you're up on a C, up here on the low E string, and we're up here on the 8th fret, if you go down 3 frets, 1, 2, 3, there's your A. So A minor is the relative minor to C major. So that's kind of the poor man's version to figure out your relative minors, is just go down 3 frets. Or it's a minor third from the note that you're on. So if you're in C major, the minor third down is A minor. So a C major scale is an A minor scale. All right, enough of the technical stuff. Now the reason why, or the theory I should say, now the reason why I'm going to show you every scale, every major and minor scale, is if you know a major scale, you know a minor scale in essence. If we play a G major scale, that is an E minor scale. You can start that scale on any note that you choose. it sounds more like an E minor if you start on an E and resolve to an E, and it sounds more like a G major if you start on a G and resolve to a G. But if it's got an F sharp in it and the rest of them are natural notes, that's G major or E minor. The chords and the melody that you play around those notes really dictates, the mood of the song, whether it's a major or minor key. So if you play, when I show you these positions, you can move them throughout the fretboard and play in any key that you want. And whether it's an A major or B major or C major or D major, you just move these positions around, and it's going to be whatever key that you move them in, and also it'll be the relative minor for those keys. So in essence, it's every major and minor scale possible on the neck. Okay, I say focus on these G major positions because guitar players love to play in G major because of the open strings, and E minor, and you'll get a lot out of these scales that I'm about to show you. And I'm going to show you like 8 positions. There's 8 total positions. There's 8 notes in a scale, so I'm going to show you 8 positions starting at the root of the fretboard, and we're going to go all the way up to the top. Okay, so let's begin. Now, if you notice, most of the time I'll do alternate picking, which means a down and an up and a down and up stroke. Okay, now sometimes I will hammer on. Just over the years of playing, I've developed a technique where sometimes I'll alternate pick, sometimes I will hammer on and get more of a legato feel. There really is no right or wrong method, but I would suggest if you're trying to get your alternate picking techniques down, I would stick strictly to alternate picking these exercises slowly. You can play to a metronome, which I know is boring, but just stick strictly to alternate picking, and that's how you develop speed over time. These lessons, these scales will show you, they will develop your left hand muscles, your stretching capabilities. It'll develop your alternate picking capabilities, string skipping, and later on it will develop into arpeggios, improvisation. All kinds of goodies get unlocked with these. Okay, so G major root position. Okay, I'm going to just call it G major, but we all know it's also E minor. So anyways, here we go. The root position is going to have some open strings in it, and it sounds like this. Now this scale works really cool if you're doing like country and bluegrass stuff, because you can do a lot of pull-offs and a lot of cool stuff with your open strings. So this is a G, this is a G, and we've got our middle G string right there. So we're going straight up. All right, cool. Now there's position number 1. I call that first thing the root position because we're down here at the root. It's the root chord, okay? I don't know if everybody else calls it the root position, but that's the root position scale. Now, this next position, we're going to be up here on the 2nd fret. Now, this is an F sharp. So there's our friend, our F sharp, that tells us we're in G major or E minor. Everything else is natural notes. Now, we're really focused around learning the shapes, like the shape of this scale. If you memorize these shapes on the fretboard, it's kind of your cheat code to unlocking the entire fretboard later on in life, down the road. Learning the notes that you're playing and where the octaves are and the thirds and the seconds and that stuff. It comes with time and through practice, and analyzing this stuff. But learning these positions is critical. So the first position I'm going to play like this. Now, one thing my teacher way back a long time ago told me that your fingers should always own its own fret. So if you notice, this is a 4-fret span scale, so I've got 1 finger on each fret. I'm not sliding up and playing with 1 finger, or I'm not letting the 2nd finger go to the 3rd fret. Now, sometimes I'll mess up. I'm only human. I've been playing my entire life, and there's times I play things a little bit differently, but rule of thumb is each finger owns its own fret. All right, so slowly. Now it sounds ugly to end on the F sharp because it either wants to resolve T do, or you can go, check this out, I'm going to resolve the E minor. See, same key, relative major, relative minor. All right, position number 2 is up here. It starts on this G. All right, and this is going to be a little bit of a stretch. So we're going to be doing 3, 5, 7. All right, so now this scale gets a little bit ugly because there's a 2-note per string on the B string, on the 5 and the 7 here, and that's going to be your middle finger and your pinky. So it's a little unorthodox to get that under your belt at first. So most of the time I like to play a scale that's got 3 notes per string. So sometimes I'll blend 2 of these patterns that I'm showing you today together so I can get 3 notes per string. But technically this is the position that this scale is in. So it sounds like this again slowly. Okay, a little bit quicker. All right, now the next position we're going to do, this is going to be the 3rd position that I call. All right, this is going to be up here. It's going to start up on this A note. We're still in G. These are all G major scales. They're just in different positions throughout the neck. So position number, it's going to be position number, position number 2 or 3. Sorry. Ends on an A. Resolve to a G. All right, so this one gets a little bit ugly here because it's got this 5 and 7 on the G string. So one thing that I do a lot is I'll take position number 2 and 3 and I'll combine them. I'll go. That way it's 3 notes per string, and you can do legato. Like that. We love easy as guitar players. If it's easy, we like it. And if it sounds good, even better, right? But technically speaking, position number 3 is going to be up here again. Very difficult when you have 3 notes and then 2 notes on a string. But this is going to build muscle memory, alternate picking techniques, and these are positions that you need to know. All right, so anyways, that is position 3. Now position 4 jumps up to the 7th fret, and this is a B. All right, so we're going to start on the B, which is the 3rd of a G triad. So up here on position number 4, it's going to be 7, 8, 10. We're going to start off with 7, 8, 10. This is one of my favorite scales because it's got a small stretch, and for the most part, you know, there is still a wonky 2-note per string section in here where you do the 7 and 9 on the G string, but this scale also outlines this G major triad is right here. All right, so when we play this scale again, and it ends on a major 3rd, which is nice. That's a nice note to end on, but you've got this triad. I like that. This is a really useful position. All right, cool. So that is position number 4. Cool. One thing I'm doing is I'm resting my hand on the bridge. I'm not picking way up high like this. I'm not like a lot of beginner students and a lot of people that I see that just start off. They don't rest their hand on the guitar and they their picking is too high. You got to get over time you'll get used to picking closer to your strings. It just comes naturally with practice. And I've found that I anchor my pinky always seems to find its way to curl around the pickup or something. I don't know why it does that, but that's just over time it's kind of like that's my anchor, and that's where I keep my hand, and I keep my stability there, so I have accuracy. And you'll also find that your fingers won't be coming really high off of the fretboard. You won't be like going really high up in the air with your fingers. I see a lot of beginner students whose fingers are really high off the fretboard, and typically, over time you'll see your fingers will stay relatively close to the fretboard, and you'll be anchored down here on the picking hand. So just something to look out for. If you're doing that, don't be too alarmed just yet. Just be aware of the fact that that's going on, and through practice, it'll wind up changing for the better. Okay, and one way to do that is to practice all these positions, but also if there's one that you really find easy, hone in on that position and work on that a lot. But don't forget to do the other ones as well. It's kind of like working out. You just don't want to do, skip leg day. All right. That's position 4. All right, position 5 is up here. We're going to start up here on the C note, which is on the 8th fret. So this one's kind of cool. It's mostly 3 notes per string, but there's a 2 note per string area up here on the 10 and 12 on the B string. So it gets a little bit weird because we're doing our middle finger and our pinky up here. But this position goes like this. This is a weird one because you've got 3 notes there, then you've got 3 notes there, which is index, middle finger, and pinky. And then you've got index, ring, and pinky. And then middle, pinky, and then index, middle, pinky. So this position really works every single finger on your left hand. Slowly. Ends on a C. Then back to G or E minor. Okay, this next position is pretty challenging. This one is up here. It starts on the 10th fret. Okay, this is a D. So this one is interesting because it's got a 2 note per string section up here on the 12th and 13th fret on the B string. So they're very close. It's just like the half step. There's a half step right here between B and C. Interesting. So anyway, this scale goes like this. So it starts off easy. We've got 3 notes per string on the A, or the E, A, and the D string. So it's real easy. Then it's 3 notes per string on the 11, 12, and 14. And then 12 and 13 on the B string. That's weird. And then 10, 12, 14 on the high E. So again, slowly. Then go down. Now, if you notice, we're getting higher and higher and higher. So this next position is going to be up here on the 12th fret, all right? So this is going to be position number 7. Position number 7 is basically, it's like doing the root position way down here. This thing, way down here. This right here is an E, so the low E, high E. So this scale is just like the very first one I showed you, except we have to play it up starting on the 12th fret. There's no open strings. They're going to be the 12th fret instead of being an open string. So it sounds like this. And on that E. Now, of course, you can end. And on that G. So all we're doing is do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, except when we go up the fretboard, we're going to be on do, then re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Now, once we get past this position that I just showed you, it starts all over again with, like when I showed you position 1 down here. But it's going to be way up here. It's like this. All right, so that's the same scale, it's just an octave up. So as you keep going up, 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 you can go until you run out of fretboard, and it's the same positions. So that's all of the G major positions on the fretboard throughout the guitar, which is also E minor. So if you're in a song that's in G major or E minor, you know, if you're going, or an E minor, so if you loop that chord progression on a looper and you're doing, as an example, you could take one of these scales and you could solo over it, you know, and you can, that's a great way to learn these scale positions, is to loop or record a progression in E minor or G major. You know, and also songwriting. If you're writing songs, it gives you a good idea on how to write and orchestrate songs and make melodies and improv over those chord progressions. I'd say record those progressions in E minor or G major and practice these scales and these positions over those progressions. That'll teach you how to play on time in different time signatures over different chord positions. And it's a labor of love, but it's something that will help you develop your technique. In the next lesson that I do regarding these scales, I'm going to show you different patterns and techniques to play that'll even jumpstart and kickstart this into the next level going forward, which will blow your mind. Anyway, that's enough for now. I hope this lesson was helpful. If you like this kind of content, please consider subscribing, comment below, keep playing, and as always, have a great day. Peace out.